Hello everyone and welcome back guys to Gran Turismo Sport. Yes, we're finally back on GTSport after a couple of months away from this game, ready for the manufacturer's 2019 season. Really quite looking forward to this one. It sort of works out well with my schedule as well, you know, sort of later evening races really, really sort of the only options I have nowadays. So I'm most likely going to be taking part on the 11 PM races, at least on the Wednesdays for the most part, and maybe some of the Saturdays as well. But yeah, really looking forward to this one. For those of you guys that don't know, basically what you do is you pick a manufacturer. There's like sort of 15 to 18 available, I think, if I'm not mistaken, and then you compete in the whole season in either their GT3 or GT4 variant, depending on that week's combo. Currently in the background is my fastest qualifying lap, even with this guy in, I think that was a BRZ, or it might have been something else, I don't know for sure, getting in the way, which really does go to show about this qualifying session there. But yeah, really sort of looking forward to this series, hoping that we're going to have a solid season. I've wanted to get back into GTSport a little bit more in recent weeks, and this sort of seemed like the perfect excuse to get back into it. I missed out in the Nations Cup. I've sort of missed out on the first few rounds of that, so I thought there's no real point me sort of trying to jump into that a bit late, although I might do it as sort of a bit of fun on the side. But yeah, this is going to be the main sort of series that I want to focus on GTSport. And for this season, I'm racing with a Lamborghini. Now, there's a couple of reasons for this. One was that I used the Lamborghini GT4 car in ILR, and I sort of just, it's the car I know the best. The GT3 car's not as good. Number two actually wasn't when I originally sort of set this up. But this car now seems to be a little bit better in my opinion now with the new understeer. I wouldn't say the understeer change on GTSport. For those of you guys that sort of play this game, you'll know what I'm talking about there. But yeah, we set a 1 minute 39.1 at the end of the session, which yeah would actually be good enough for pole position, despite that guy in the early stages holding me up, which is obviously quite nice at the end of the day there. But yeah, Lambo seems to actually work quite well now with the understeer changes on this game. Once you get it to a certain point, it's pretty easy to hold it just below that understeer. So it's, yeah, I mean, it's muscle memory for a lot of people trying to learn it, and I think that's sort of played into my favour where I haven't got that muscle memory on GTSport in recent times as well. So yeah, looking forward to trying to get back onto this game. And start the pole position in my lobby is absolutely the best way to be getting it off with the wonderful, interesting manufacturer series things all going on in the background there. The final round 1 of 2019, 9 laps here at the Autodromo de Interlagos. I'm really excited for this one. Interlagos is also a track that I feel particularly strong at as well, so yeah, hopefully we can just have a good solid race. It's going to be probably a bit of a learning curve, but we'll wait and see. And starting on pole is certainly a much nicer way than anywhere else there. We're just running through the grid behind us. P3 is someone we definitely need to watch out for, and that's something I'm going to talk about in this video. P3, he put a message in the chat after qualifying saying that someone had blocked his qualifying lap, so I was, you know, a little bit worried about his pace for this race, but, you know, we can try and use that to our advantage as well. Motorsport psychology in terms of on track, I think, is absolutely brilliant as well. This is GT86 that held me up all the way down in P17, I think, there after qualifying, so clearly not quite got the pace, but ready then for the rolling start to kick off the opening round of the 2019 manufacturer season. Hoping I can have some good luck with Lamborghini. The GT4 car is definitely much stronger than the GT3, or at least in previous experience, but hopefully yeah, we can have a good solid showing in this championship. There shouldn't be any pit stops required in this race. It should be pretty simple, and it's lights out and away we go. They're going to try and get a good run in towards Telmano. We've got GTSfr Momo just behind us here, so are we going to get any sort of dives in towards Telmano? That actually broke a little bit too early in towards the first corner, you know, just with that lower speed off the start. A little bit unsure of where I need to brake, and I'll be honest, you know, first race in a very long time as well. I was quite nervous coming into this one as well. We get a good run through the first couple of corners, and now the aim is just try and keep it nice and tidy over the first couple of laps and just slowly try and build up our rhythm here as we come in towards turn 4 there. Just running a little bit too deep on the brakes there. Heavy fuel, everything like that. We have really got to watch out for that as well. You know, we've a bit different to qualifying in the sense of we've really got to try and keep the car and the tyres, more importantly, in check. Tyre wear still quite high for this, not as ridiculous as it used to be. And then fuel wear is, yeah, really not an issue for this series as well, or at least for round 1. You know, fuel doesn't make too much of a difference, at least in personal experience. It's, yeah, all about the tyres on Gran Turismo Sport there as we come through the middle sector of lap 1 of this race. And we're just trying to build up a little bit of a margin. The Mercedes is very, very strong in very, very different places to the Lamborghini. With it being rear-wheel drive, it a lot better through the corners. The Lambo still has, I wouldn't say it definitely understeers a bit, but only if you really sort of push it a lot, and you can sort of get away. And, you know, if you're consistent and smooth with it, it can really be quite a rewarding car to drive as well there. And it's very, very good on the traction zones, especially that final corner, probably quite critical at the end of the day. That the Lambo, yeah, was really, really strong off there. Nothing really, unless, you know, sort of butchered the corner, was sort of out-dragging me off the corner here. As we come towards the end of lap 1, though, we are still holding on to the lead down in towards turn 1 there. And we're just trying to keep it nice and tidy on our first proper sort of flying lap. Keep it tidy through the centre as to kick off the lap. You can run a little bit wide through there. You can really sort of use the track limits quite nicely. I've always remembered GTSport, you know, on the FIA races being really, really strict. But, you know, there is a bit of leniency to it as well, which is always quite nice. If we come down in towards turn 2 this time around, trying to keep it a bit tidier, just dipping the wheel on the grass on the way in there. Sort of unsettled the rear end, cost us a tiny bit in the braking zone there, but all together not too bad off at the start there as we now come up the hill once more. And this corner was certainly one that I struggled with on the whole, just trying to find the right amount of speed that you need to take through there, but luckily the Mercedes behind just getting a little bit too over-eager on the throttle. Obviously just watching the radar like an absolute hawk in the early stages of this race, is really trying to watch for any sort of moves or anything like that coming from behind, and this would be the one that he'd attempt there. A little bit late in my opinion. You know, we sort of already committed to the corner there. He's going to try and muscle his way to the inside, but on the outside through the next couple of corners, I don't think he's really going to be able to get anything done just there as we come in towards the final braking zone of the lap. They're going to try and keep it nice and tidy, get a good run over the curbs on the way through there, and that's going to give us a bit of a better run than Momo just behind there. We've got Speedy Racer just behind him as well. You know, this was the main guy that I was sort of worried about before coming into this race, and now you can see he's now trying to mount a challenge on the Mercedes. The Ford Mustang very, very quick down the straight there. Sadly, Elgato having a little bit of an issue with the recording. They'll get a little bit of choppiness, but yeah, through turn 1 and turn 2, those guys, as you can see on the position counter, are actually going to swap over, and this was absolutely perfect for myself as we look behind side by side on the exit of turn 1 there. This was my chance to really sort of break away in this race. We needed to absolutely fly on this lap there, braking nice and tidily in towards the next couple of corners here, and this was, you know, this could be the win it or bin it lap of the race here, because I really sort of wanted to try and build up, you know, 1.5 second advantage over the guys just behind, and especially if they carried on battling, that would be absolutely brilliant for myself. Whereas we come up the hill, they're running a little bit deep. We do get a good run on the exit. That's going to cost me a little bit of time, but altogether not too much. And now just case trying to keep it nice and tidy through the next couple of corners here. Speed Racer just behind you. You can see that gap sort of moving up and down all the time. They're ebbing and flowing between about 1.4 and a second here. So this was going to be absolutely critical towards the end of this lap. We need to make sure we get good drive out of the final couple of corners here, because the Mustang is certainly one car that's a bit quicker through the final, well, down the back, the front straight even, sorry, I should say, just down the straights in general, had that little bit of an advantage there. And at the final corner we go, a much better run than the Mustang behind me here, and that was going to be absolutely critical in this race here. You can see that gap hovering now at about 1.5 seconds here, and as I'm sure some of you guys know that do play Gran Turismo Sport, that is a perfect margin to be trying to keep in front of someone else. They see a 1:39.3 as well on the end of that lap. We set a faster lap in the race than anyone else did in qualifying there, which is obviously absolutely critical, and that would basically be this race at the end of the day there. We, you know, build up a little bit, sort of another 0.5 second to 0.7 over the Mustang behind me over the next few laps, and we just keep it consistent. You can see how when I look at our laps, we're pretty much pinned in the, you know, sort of mid to high 39s. So we've got a 1:40 on lap 6 there, where I made a small mistake as well. You can see 1:38, sort of 1:39.8 even throughout most of the second half of this Grand Prix, and I can confirm now this final lap would yet again be another here. And yeah, this was absolutely crucial in this race. You know, just that added consistency really did just mean that the Mustang behind, you know, he might have been ever so slightly quicker on sort of one-lap pace, you know, perhaps he'd been able to hook up his run in qualifying, but, you know, just not making any mistakes really doesn't allow him to try and catch up as well, which is obviously absolutely perfect for myself as we come up towards the top of the hill once more in this race. Yeah, an absolutely perfect start to the season, if I do say so myself. The tyres were really starting to go off towards the end of this race, and nonetheless, but you know, the Lambo's so stable, you can keep it in check most of the time. Now, I noticed towards the end of the race though, the understeer was definitely starting to kick in, so what I found was just the best way to go about it was just try and steer through it, almost like sort of a World Rally Cross car, where you just got to go absolutely all out towards the end of the race. Just absolutely shred through those tyres if you need to as well. But in towards the final braking zone then of the race, you can see the car starting to skate around just a bit, but you know, getting a little bit more aggressive with the track limits, really trying to make this circuit as wide as possible there. And out of the final corner then, up towards the line, it's going to be P1 for our very first race in the Manufacturer Series of 2019. The best ever way to start this championship. Now, win for Lamborghini, I will certainly take up that one there. And yeah, really happy with that at the end of the day there. In terms of our fastest lap, you know, relative top guys, I think we were about a second off in free practice, about 1.3 seconds a lap in a race pace there. So, you know, personally, I'm really happy with that for how good a lot of people are at GTSport, nonetheless. They can see we win ahead of Speedy Racer, Jackster MX in P3 there. GTSfr Momo drops down the order in that race, sadly, as well there. And yeah, just 2 Lamborghinis, I think, in this race, and the other one does finish down in P6 at the end of the day there, so a good result by him as well there. But it is going to be the victory in the opening round of the season there. Pole position, fastest lap, led every lap, and obviously the race win. Couldn't have asked for much of a better start to this championship. I think overall, though, we're currently ranked about 260th on the whole. We only got 1,151 points from that race as I take my 13th career victory in GTSport online there. And I think, yeah, so about 260th worldwide, I think, overall, after the opening round of the series. And I think ranked 13th for Lamborghini so far. So, yeah, really happy with that one. But, yeah, hopefully, you know, you guys have enjoyed this video. Get yourself subscribed if you're new around here and you do want to see more from this series. Next time, we'll be heading to Yanagawa once again in the GT4. So, yeah, thank you all so much for watching, and I will hopefully see you guys next time for another video.